You've said this morning that government shares some of the responsibility for the terrible tragedy at Grenfell. Why has it taken 6 years for a government minister to concede that?
Well, I think the principal reason has been we wanted to let the inquiry conclude. So
6 years?
Well, nobody needs to tell me how desperately important it was to deal with all of the issues that were provoked by the fire at Grenfell Tower. It was an horrendous tragedy. It was a tragedy for everyone directly involved, the people who lost their lives, the people in that community, but it also had ramifications which, as you quite rightly point out, have gone on for years, not properly addressed. Again, I'm not going to blame any individual for that. That would be wrong. It's now my responsibility to deal with it. And one part of that is tomorrow I'll be publishing a contract which will say to the developers concerned, people who, put up buildings which are unsafe, look, you now have, as you said you will, an opportunity to put that right, to make them safe. But you're also right, government, and it's not the fault again of any individual minister or department or administration. It was collective over many years involving people from different parties.
It's a failure of government.
Yeah, totally. And it was a failure to effectively have a system of building regulations which could keep people safe.
So on that question, you say it was a collective failure by government that allowed that to happen because the system wasn't good enough. So in the last 6 years, since the terrible fire, how many blocks have actually been fixed? Because in June, there was a Freedom of Information request that said there were still more than 9,000 buildings that were unsafe because of fire safety or some other kind of risk. How many of those have been fixed now?
Well, the buildings which are most dangerous, those buildings which are over 11 metres, we've made significant progress on, but there are also buildings, over 80 metres. There are buildings between 11 and 18 metres, many of them, which do need to be addressed, far too many. And again, it's because we haven't had action that I'm publishing the contract tomorrow, demanding that developers...
But my question is, how many of those buildings are still unsafe? 6 years on, how many buildings are still unsafe?
Far too many.
Do you know the answer?
Well, we're changing the number of buildings that are being remediated every week, but I would say that of the buildings that are most unsafe, as I say, the over 18 metres, the vast majority have now been remediated and the situation has been addressed. There are buildings which are at a lower level and where the risks are smaller that are still unsafe where work requires to be done.
OK, well, it'll be interesting. We'll watch with interest as the full details of your announcement come later this week.